Hello YouTube. I'm here to share with you some of my epic stories and things that I've gone through, helping share it through pictures, that my own art that I've done, and I can help explain some of my journeys. It was about 2005, October, when I had my first really powerful psychedelic trip. And during that trip, I'm talking powerful visions, complete trance consumption. And during that time, I got conveyed visions and the essence and feeling and experience of being one with things of this kind of essence. Just this pure, divine, just growth. And it was during that time that I became schizophrenic for the first time, shortly after that. And during that time, what happened was I was shortly coming off of the trip, and as I'm slowly coming off, just laying in bed, all of a sudden my mind just expanded everywhere, and I'm taking everything in, and all of a sudden I'm speaking completely with my higher self. I talked to God, and we first communed to the highest level. Later that morning, when the dawn came, I went out into my woods. It's privately owned by a lot of people, but they let me just walk through there. I've explored there since I was a little kid, but this time I'm going through there, and all I see, just everywhere, is just pure oneness, pure God. God running as little squirrels, running around, stopping, looking at me, all shifty-eyed. God just communicating through this squirrel, just looking out through this other filter, through the trees, faces, things of epic natures, infinities within infinities. And during that time, I came to learn about the universe. God taught me all these different things that I later went on to study all of these different religions, from Taoism to Gnostic Christianity, to Sufism, to Hinduism, to Buddhism. And I'm finding all these same things contained within the deeper, more esoteric levels of these realities. Even the more pagan, the older ones, the shamanic traditions. It all comes together in a unity. Quantum physics, when studied to a deeper level, it comes together in a unity. It's all ever revolver belt within your mind. The cycles of samsara, as we're constantly going through these different journeys, the truth of the trip, when you really realize the truth of the trip, is that we are always tripping. We're all on our own personal little journeys through our own personal little trips in this little dream called life. And there are dreams within dreams, and we are a dream within a dream. Just like at night, those are dreams within this larger dream. And as I'm communicating with God and going deeper and deeper into the woods, let me find a new pic. This is how it felt during this time. Just the God consciousness completely pouring into my mind, spreading everywhere. And as I'm communicating with God, God basically just says to me, alright, you have a choice. You can go to deeper levels, to higher levels, to more blissful realms, to more heavenly realms, and leave this illusion behind. I had this really metaphorical, powerful, symbolic experience while I was in the woods. I was in a deep trance, and I'm out there in the woods. I had been there for a very long time, and I was supposed to work at 5 that day. And then all of a sudden my dad appears out of the woods, and he's like, John, what are you doing? You have to get to work. You're already late. And then all of a sudden, like, it was just such a culture shock. It's just like, whoa, what? What am I doing? Fuck. Like, work? Like, I gotta be at work. Like, what the fuck? And I start heading back, and as I'm being drawn back into this, God is just saying to me, you can go back into the illusion. That's your choice. Or you can go on and see how far the rabbit hole really goes. And so I stop, and I see how I'm getting dragged back into it, the idea of gotta work, gotta make a living, gotta have this certain image, have to live this certain life. You know, that's not where happiness is found. That's not where it's found. You'll never find it there. Well, you can, relatively speaking. Everything is relative. That's why oftentimes things will be found to be paradoxical and contradictory, because all falsehoods have a truth to them. To know the truth is to know nothing. And so as I was communicating with God, you know, I had the choice. I reached this point at the top of a hill. Very symbolic. It was the sun was setting at that time, because I'd been in the woods from dawn until dusk. The sun was setting, and I reached the top of this hill where I overlooked my whole city. And during that time, as I'm sitting there watching the sunset, God says to me, you can go on to the heavenly realms, or you can come back and help assist as much as possible in the awakening of people. And so I stop, and I overlook the city, and I just contemplate as I'm overlooking it, and I think of all my different loved ones, and all the different people in the world, and what it was like to be, you know, a normal human in the world, experiencing life in a normal fashion. And as I'm thinking about that, you know, even though I know ultimately this is a dream that just goes on, and there's nothing to ever be afraid of, ever. But still, I know how real the dream can be, despite the unrealness of it, despite the illusion of it, despite the maya of it. And for that reason, and knowing the bliss and peace that I had found in the woods with God, communicating, you know, with that, like powerful images. I mean, just and I know tons of people have experiences, and we all have our own part to play. Like, no one is greater or lesser. We are all one. That's what I want to help people awaken to, is the fact that we're all sons and daughters of God. We all are God. If you look at the deeper levels of all the different traditions, even contained within the deeper levels of science, you'll find that those deeper truths ring true in so many ways. And they have a real existence to them, and yet they have no existence to them. On to part 2.